Hey, Todd. I know you guys had great expectations for Ronald, and but it seemed like you bring in Leonard Fournette or Shea McCoy, and this guy just keeps getting better. What does it say about your staff and him to stick together like that and to become and have the kind of year he's having? He's going to go over 1,000 yards if he stays up.
Yes, I mean, the credit goes to him. He's really matured in these 2 years since last year when we first came in. He's shown a lot of maturity, a lot of growth. I think people forget how young he was.
Yeah.
And even coming in last year, he hadn't really played the year before, so he was like a rookie, and he's rookie age. So the year in the system, and I think the offensive coaches sticking with him, giving him a lot of positive reinforcement and stuff. I think he's just blossomed, and his ceiling's still high. He's got a long way to go still.
Where's the biggest improvement? I mean, forgetting about receiving, which he's worked on a lot, I know, but in terms of just running the football and having the confidence, and whether it's the patience or is it the understanding of where the gaps are going to be, the holes are going to be, or what?
A little bit of that. Gaining a more solid understanding of the running game, like you said, the blocking scheme and stuff like that. And he's running really hard and really fast. You know what I'm saying? He's got a tremendous amount of ability, and it's coming out. And I don't even think Rowe understands how good he could be. And he does stuff by accident, and it's like like whoa. But he probably can't tell you what he did when he gets back to the sidelines. He's got a tremendous amount of ability in his body, and he's so unassuming a person. You know what I mean? And so he just I think all that stuff just it's just starting to click, like I said, with the age and maturity, and then you're starting to see what he can truly become.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
All right, next is going to be Greg Allman.
Hey, Todd, I just want to ask you about the dynamic between the two top backs there, and just how well Ronald and Leonard have coexisted, handling coming in and out, sometimes on the same series, and working together as well as they have.
Well, alpha dog running backs don't want to ever come out the game. I mean, let's keep it real, But they've coexisted. Leonard has carved out a different niche. He's has different skill set than Rowe. You know what I mean? He's more effective in the passing game and stuff like that. Just stuff comes natural to him in that regard. But they're coexisting fine. Coming into the game the other day, Leonard had the previous two games, Leonard had 79 plays and Rowe had 31. Rowe's listed as a starter. Of course, we got into some 2-minute situations, so that, forced him to be on the field more, kind of took Rowe off the field. But, we're just managing it, and we don't foresee any problems going forward. But like I said, guys that are used to being there and being the guy and always been the guy, it's kind of hard for them to defer a little bit.
Todd, when you're watching that run on Sunday, you know how fast Ronald is, but you got to be faster than everybody else on the field. What's it like watching that for you?
I was just excited, and then the 21 from the Panthers was starting to catch him a little bit.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, that's, just keep the ball high and tight. That's the worst thing happened then, ball come popping out. But then I saw him looking up, and that's kind of new to me. Like back at USC, Reggie Bush was looking up, because he had a lot of long runs. So he's always looking up. I'm like, what are you looking at? I'm looking at Jumbotron to see who's behind me. So I'm like, okay. And then Rowe, I saw Rowe looking up. The guy was gaining on him, and if you can watch from the end zone view, he veered to the right a little bit, and that's what made the guy like kind of dive out. The linebacker that was chasing him, and he didn't get him. So I thought it was pretty cool. It was exciting though,
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Okay, next is going to be Jenna Lane.
Hey, Coach. I've asked a few others about this already. We talked to Levante about it earlier. I know that you guys haven't had the same type of performance in primetime games as you have in some of your other games. And so from your vantage point, which is quite unique because you played as well, what are some of the unique physiological and psychological challenges that you encounter when you play a game so much later in the day versus a 1 o'clock game?
It's just a different, you got to sit around all day, and get yourself, you got to get yourself ready. But like, how early do you really start to lock in and get yourself ready, mentally, the adrenaline, all that stuff, and sometimes you wait till you get to the stadium and sometimes it kicks in a little late, I don't know. We just, sometimes it affects teams. We obviously this year have started a little slower, and I think we're going to do some things. Coach has some things that we're going to do different going into this one that I think will be effective. But me personally, I never had a problem with late night primetime games.
And, one of the things Levante was talking about is that, hey, when it's a Monday night game, that's more time for you, more time during the day to kind of spend studying and things like that. But is there a danger in because obviously you want to wake up and you want to be alert and you want to dive into football, but is there almost a danger in like doing that too early in the day to where like by the time it gets to be nighttime, you're mentally worn out? Do you kind of have to balance that at all? Or do players ever run the risk of like over analyzing things before they even get to kickoff?
I think there's some truth to that. Like I said, I never had a problem with primetime Monday. Now I'm ready to go, but I could see where players could, you have to jostle that, Russell with getting prepared too long, getting prepared too early. Like you said, maybe a little mental burnout on the day. I don't know. But it is something that you have to self-analyze and, look at your own personal situation and how it's factoring in the games when you have those games.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
All right, next we're going to go to John Ledyard.
Hey, Coach, as much as Ronald Jones has improved in the run game, it still seems like the pass game's a little bit of an adventure for him and maybe for some of the other guys too, just focusing specifically on yards after catch and making people miss in the open field. That hasn't really been something that Ronald or Leonard have done great in the passing game this year. Is that something you're concerned about? And if so, like, is that something you can emphasize and work on them with in practice, or is it kind of something you just hope happens and takes over in the middle of a game?
I mean, with Rowe, he has his ups and downs with his hand placement, and it's totally hand placement and not expecting the ball to come to you. I think every time you run a play and it's a play for somebody else and the play is on the other side of the field, but the circumstances happen, the defense adjust that way, and then here comes the football. You got to think that it's coming to me every time. So that's as far as the mechanical aspect of that, and that's something we still work on. And he's such a conscientious kid that he can get in his own head sometimes and start to struggle at times, and that's why you see the up and down with that. But as far as making plays and making people miss, I think you just got to be in a position to do that. And I think they're kind of young, especially Rowe, with winning man-to-man routes. You gotta take your time and really win and beat the guy so that you have space and separation when you catch the ball. And then you can make stuff happen. If you don't take time and beat the defender to get that separation, then it's a bang bang play, meaning you catch the ball, he's tackling you. So we got to work on that part of it, getting separation from linebackers, really think about man-to-man and taking the time to win.
Deshaun Vaughn showed a little bit when he was out there earlier this year, and just curious about your thoughts on his game, how he's developed over the past couple weeks. We haven't seen him as much in games, obviously, and whether he could maybe be a factor, especially in the passing game down the stretch.
Yeah, it depends, you know, on how the season goes as far as playing time and stuff. But he's come a long way. When he first got here, he really wasn't. You know, I don't think he did it much in college, and he wasn't really as comfortable in the passing game and stuff. But he's a really sharp kid. He really studies, and he know like right now, I wouldn't be hesitate at all to play him because he knows everything. He knows all the protections. He knows all the routes. You know, he's really sharp in that regard. And he does have some natural ability, you know, getting away from people. And, you know, I wouldn't hesitate, but, you know, the rotation is kind of how we have it now. And, you know, but anything can happen. You always got to be prepared. You always got to be ready.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go to Joey Knight.
Coach, you guys are committing noticeably fewer penalties this year. Obviously, that's a concerted effort every year to cut down on the penalties. Are you guys doing anything special this year? Any explanation?
No, it's just a point of emphasis. You know, we were I think the most penalized team in the league last year, or close to it. We're, you know, and that's not a stat you want. It obviously affects games. It's affected games this year. And it's just something that we really just, you know, locked in on, and coach has made a emphasis on it, and the players, to their credit, have been less penalized. You know, they've been taking care of business. So, you know, that's always a plus.
Thanks.
All right, our last one's going to come from Jolene.
Hey, Coach, back to that game on Sunday. You know, Coach could have pulled Ronald Jones after that fumble. I don't know if anyone would have faulted him for it, but he kept him in the game. You've
Right.
been in situations like that before and everything. What do you think, giving a player like that an opportunity to kind of atone for those mistakes in a game versus benching him? Like, say, for instance, you know, when he missed that blitz pickup in Jacksonville, I don't think we saw him the rest of the game. What do you think that did for Rojo, and what can that do for a player in their growth and development by keeping them out there?
It's huge. You know, you can't every time a guy makes a mistake, you yank him out, you know. But, you know, it's huge for him. He, you know, especially a guy as conscientious as Roe is, you know, he doesn't want to let his team down. He cares what people think about him. He cares about his impact, positive or negative, on the game. And it was big, you know, and we have to let him know that we totally trust him. We're totally, you know, we're behind him, got his back and everything. It was huge for him to go back and then have the type of game that he had, because, you know, the Giants game just a little while ago, he had a similar play early. You know, he fumbled, and you know, he was really down on himself after that one. But, you know, he went back and fought through it, and had the best game of his career by far. And I think that's huge in his development going forward.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
All right, that's all for today. Thanks, Todd.
Okay, thanks.